Hi everybody, welcome to week 5 of your nursing education practicum course. Starting to get a little warmer here in Utah finally. I'm actually going to take advantage of that and head down to Zion's National Park this weekend, do a little hiking, so that should be fun. I hope the weather's a little nicer in your neck of the woods. Okay, so this week we're focusing on assessment and evaluation strategies, right? This applies to both students and staff. And we know through the research and inherently that different students are able to more effectively demonstrate their competency depending on the evaluation strategy being used, right? So different people are going to do better based on whether it's a research paper, responding to a case study, providing verbal justification for a nursing action, and of course, the one we all love, multiple choice test questions, right? So if we're dealing with nursing students, they have to be able to demonstrate competency with multiple choice test questions because of course they've got to take the NCLEX. Although we want to incorporate a lot of those other strategies as much as possible because we know everybody does better based on the evaluation strategy being used. Okay, but our staff nurses, it's helpful if they also continue to get some exposure to multiple choice test questions because we hope that they will go on to take their nursing specialty examination, which again is multiple choice test questions. Okay, so we want to try to incorporate all those different types of strategies. We want them to be evidence-based. We want them to be effective, okay? So there's oh my gosh, we could talk for days and days on end about assessment and evaluation strategies, but I'm going to try to keep this focused. So first of all, evidence-based. So it used to be back in the day that we would just do the best that we can, best that we could at the time, because there wasn't a whole lot of research on evidence-based evaluation strategies. But now we've got more and more coming up, right? So our strategies are getting more and more effective. We even know that gaming can be an effective strategy. And remember, we've got formative assessment and summative assessment. So we're going to use different strategies for different things, right? For formative assessment, we want to get data now. Are they understanding what I'm saying? What is happening? And I'm actually going to attach I'm going to attach a bunch of attachments. And yeah, you're going to think I'm crazy. How is she expecting me to read all this stuff? Well, some of it is more for just to kind of put in your back pocket to have as a reference. But one of them are prompts for formative questions, like when you're teaching a class and you want to see, are the students getting it? Are they hanging with me? Are they understand my thought process? So I'm going to attach that. So formative and summative, we're going to use different strategies. We want them to be evidence-based. There's more and more literature these days that justifies using a variety of assessment strategies, and there's research on particular ones, right? So we also want to get at assessing the cognitive, the psychomotor, and the affective domains. The cognitive, yeah, test questions, papers, case studies. Psychomotor, sim lab, right? Or regular lab, clinical setting. Affective domains a little bit harder to get at. And I'm also going to attach an article about assessing the various domains of learning. And it really, I know you don't have a lot of time to read right now, but it really is a nice overview of assessing different various domains. And I think provides some really good information. Okay, but then there's a few other things in these competencies from the NLN that we need to think about. So we need to think about, okay, what are we going to use to evaluate the students, right? Okay. Then we've got to think about how do we know that our assessments and evaluations are working? And that's where we've got to be able to use that data to enhance the teaching learning process. It's kind of, we do a little bit of action research. Are there scores or results on these assessment and evaluation strategies lining up with what I think I know about this class's level of knowledge? Are they, is there a relationship? Are they correlating? Then we can also go to, for instance, doing statistical analysis on our test results, right? So we can run them through computer analysis, look at things like point by serials and stuff like that. So we need to be able to make sure that the evidence-based assessment and evaluation strategies that we found and implemented are actually working with our student population, our staff population, okay? And then there's another competency, demonstrate skill in the design of use of tools for assessing clinical practice. This is really an area that in the clinical setting, for clinicals with nursing students, and to some extent clinicals with staff, how do we evaluate correctness? We have fallen short in nursing education of developing really helpful, effective, evidence-based methods of evaluating students in the clinical setting. Sometimes we have this list of things that we're supposed to check people off on, or our clinical evaluation form. Sometimes it doesn't even relate very specifically to the course that they're in at the same time they're in clinical. So that is an area that we still need to do a lot of work on, and I think is an area that's ripe for research in nursing education. All right, so let me tell you about these things. I told you I'm going to attach some prompts for formative questions to be asked during classes. I've got the article about assessing the various domains. I'm going to attach a PowerPoint slide presentation that I came across that talks about improving evaluation of tests, and it also talks about developing test questions. And then I'm going to give you, if you ever have to write test questions, this is a great resource from the nurse Tim. It's a continuing education website and webinars and stuff for nursing educators in particular. And it has to do with sample stems for questions. So another one to keep in your back pocket. And then the NCLEX. Where the heck did they come up with all those NCLEX questions and topics? So there is an NCLEX test plan that will tell academic educators what things in general should be included on the NCLEX. So the NCLEX then has to say, well, how do we know these are accurate? How do we know these really are what new graduate nurses need to know? So every 3 years they do a new graduate survey. It's called New Graduate Survey. They survey new graduates, they survey educators, clinical educators, managers, nurse administrators from across the nation. And so the National Council of State Board of Nursing just did that in 2017. So I am going to attach their paper that they wrote up on that process and what they found. There were some things in there that I think are interesting that they put in the new graduate actions kind of thing. One of them was caring for a patient with hemodialysis or continuous renal replacement therapy. That's becoming more of a mainstay kind of thing in particular acute care. Ventilators, that's been there for a while, but we do expect our new grads to be able to care for a patient that's on a ventilator. So there's just some interesting things in there about what they found from this survey that is real life, what new grads should be expected to have information about. So I'm going to attach that also. Okay, we're going to have some good discussions this week. Yes, I'm giving you lots of information that I'm attaching, and I'm just looking forward to some great discussion because this is an area that I really like. Talk to you later in the main forum. Bye.